Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to another edition of Inside the News. It's good to be back with you today. Yes, we kind of like wasn't a little break for a little while, yes, but it's good to be back with you this morning. As you heard, it's Music Festival week. Festival wraps up this evening, and in the wee hours of tomorrow, where the headliners will be Mary J. Blige and Rick Ross. So I do urge everyone to go out there and shake a leg this evening. But nevertheless, we are on Inside the News. It's kind of the first half of the program is kind of condensed because of the press conference that just wrapped up there. But this morning, or at least for the better part of the first hour of the program, we will be looking at an event that's coming up, the Nyabingi Theocracy Order. Yes, they have an event tomorrow, and our good friend has joined us, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the event that's happening tomorrow. Good morning, Ras.
Fraternal love and greetings, and give thanks for the invite, Brother Abel, in the love of the Divine Majesty, Haile Selassie, and good morning to all the listeners of Win FM in the blessed love of the ancient ancestors.
I have to ask you first before we jump into that. Did you go shake a leg last night?
No, we don't partake in certain things that the system imply with the service of what they have, but we guide the people them who went out and have the fun.
Okay. All right, no problem. Okay, so yes, tell us a little bit about this event that you guys are having tomorrow on Nevis.
I would like to just say give thanks for this special occasion, and we'd like to just give a thanks for the reverence of the divine creator. Short is Psalm in the version of the, as we call it, the scriptures, the Holy Scripture, the version of the Bible that are transferred in different climax of languages. So we say, oh, the I am, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Who has set the glory above the heaven? Out of the mouth of babe and suckle of the warden string. Because the enemy, the mighty state, the enemy and their vengeance. When they can say, hey, no, Father. The works of thy fingers, the moon and the stars are thy day. What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man that thou visitest him? Thou made low than the angels, and come with glory and honor. Thy feet, all sheep and oxen, beasts of the field, fowl of the air, fishes of the sea, and whatsoever parts of the seas here. Oh, his imperial majesty, Haile Selassie the first. How excellent is thy name in all the earth. Oh, thy majesty and our majesty, blessed love to the ancestors and our people who give thanks. We like to say thankful for this time. This is marking the 30th of June as the Nyabingi Theocracy Order in collaboration with Higher Grounds, Higher Heights movements. We like to say we are just doing this in the impact of this speech that was made in 1936 at the League of Nations, which is now called United Nations. But in that time, in 1936, the League of Nations were operated in the area of Geneva, Switzerland. So the speech was taken in that capacity because of the invasion that was taken in 1935 by the fascist Italy, and that was implied within a proclamation that is my jar within this speech to the League members know that they have signed a treaty and they will not live up to what the treaty was signified by. And seeing that this display was by reckless and started by the ways of the league have not been standard by their comments within bringing out justice and equality. This was phrased by His Majesty in his speech to the league. So he was outlined that I and I as people who are even of the territory are the instance of I and I, which have a sovereign right in this world to be protected and be respected as human beings. So His Majesty was able to lay his case before the league in 1936. So we are doing this as a way of commemorating the speech to give thanks to what was outlined in how His Majesty delivered to the world too. He didn't just speak on behalf of Ethiopian, but he speak to the conscience of the world and seeing what now we're seeing at playing in the world at this time, especially within these wars, proximate wars created by, as we know, within economical power. So we're just outlining how we have to be cautious within what we're seeing on the world affairs. Give thanks.
Yes. So thank you for that intro. So tell us a bit about what specifically we can expect at your gathering tomorrow.
Well, it's a basically as foundation. We're looking at a bonfire to engage within the spiritual elements of I respecting what had been gone to I people at that time, because it wasn't an easy aspect of how our people faced within that invasion, because there was method that used that was not supposed to be employed at that kind of aspect in poison gas. So knowing how people were facing up to those poison gas, we can't relate with self and relate to see how those suffering was impacted. People even being executed right on site. So these were massacre within our place of African people. So we'll reflect back on these things and looking at the speech. Even we're looking at having a projector there to show the indication of what the speech that His Majesty delivered to the league as a video presentation. So these are the same nature, and then we have reasoning climaxing about how this speech made within what we're seeing aligned with these wars that are occurring in the world today. Give thanks.
There, and this is more as a question directed to you. There is this misconception still, even though we see a lot of Rastafarians in the Federation across the Caribbean region. There is a slight misconception in terms of the Rastafarian community. We all live together, yes, we've all grown up, we all know each other. But this, how do you address this misconception of the Rastafarian community? More specifically to St. Kitts and Nevis.
One of the things we really have to do is some of the emphasis is that we have a lot of learning aspect to go along too, because as Rastafari we are embedded to be knowing how we seek within knowledge, and much of I and I was relating on something that I met a elder first day, and basically these are one of the foundation tenets that much I and I in the youth stage do not have the indication of who have faced those living pattern in the early 70s coming on to now. So I would like to state basically we have a lot of ego in the format, because we don't have our self-alliance that we are basically were in the early age. Enough time in Rastafari, and I have a unification bound where we could have tried different avenues and have that love genuine, but we're not seeing this concept now. And the aspiration have to respond within how we see as the generation coming in youth. So I would like to say today is a task at hand right now that we have to work to break that cycle, because if we don't, we can continue seeing this element based within our community, and we will not bring the safety net for the future. But I hope that I can really work within, because it's time to work and not just speak on it, but work within it,
I like how you address that. And this question is more directed to you. I know you guys have been, over the years, have been working, and you alluded to the fact that you've been, there's more need for education, right, within the Federation and also across the Caribbean region, right? But one of the things that people have raised concern about, and it's been discussed at the national level, and there's some level of inclusion right now of the Rastafarian community, right? And the major thing right now that is being discussed across the board is the marijuana use and the legislation and integrating that. And I know that is to an extent part of the Rastafarian culture, right? And part of the Rastafarian community. But then, as you guys are now being included in the discussion, right? Some are saying that it's being abused to an extent, not necessarily by the Rastafarian community, but those outside of the Rastafarian community. How do you address a concern like that while also taking into account that it's an integral part of the Rastafarian community?
Well, thankful for that question, Brother Abel, and this is something that I don't look at it from my individual standpoint. I look at it from a holistic standpoint because in the aspect of I and I where we find I and I in the Rastafari community have able to know sacrament of the herb is a value use within I and I. Whether you eat it, you smoke it, or you what intake, because in Rastafari, in its concept, have it that value of how some I and I take it within by smoking it. So we say we value right now is to bring an impressive strength to education and the aspect of how I people can gravitate within the conscience of the use of herb. Now you ask about something that been stigmatized within, that people face it in not by Rastafari, but in how the society applied now. I was a part of the commission, and I will state this generally, that in that format of the report that the commission have outlined to the farm administration was to do, as we call it, public education. And much of this now uphold, and even to this now new administration is still not upholding to some of the recall that it was stated in the response of the report. Now, if we don't do these things on a proper stage and making things very valid and how we do in our studies to the use of this, as we call it, an industry. But it in Rastafari, we don't look at the industry because every time we see this is a way of our livelihood. This is impactive to how we live within the use of the herb. Now, we realize, even though they have some I&I as a representation on this now called Licensing Authority Board, which is now looking forward to have a meeting by this Tuesday. I hope that good result will come out of discussion to know how we can proceed and bring better elements in serving our people and knowing how to regard in saving our young ones in how the value of the use and really knowing the premises of how to value bringing social and economical and spiritual safety net to our people. And that is why we cannot continue making it look like within the aspect what the judge have laid out, we still see a lot of errors in how we could find with resources in education to the youth.
Okay, I want to ask you on that note, right? Sorry to interject. In terms of education, what do you guys expect in terms of public education itself? I know this question might seem a bit off, but specifically because this question comes against the backdrop of the fact that for many years, right, the Rastafarian community, and I've interviewed you guys numerous times over the last maybe 10 years or so, and you guys have been pushing for this. Then we saw pushback from the United States. And let's be frank, right? The United States will, in fact, push back against stuff that they, quote unquote, and it's just my opinion, that they don't see fitting to their economic structure, right? And then we saw, because they're saying at one time, I can remember interviewing you guys, and the discussion was, the United States will not, especially if you go to the embassy, they will not necessarily, and banks also, we're not going to accept proceeds or funds from the sale of marijuana, right? As an industry, even though it was, at the time, it was not necessarily passed. The United States then updated this legislation to say, hey, individual states, you can do it, but federally, we're not accepting it. And that's the case now. And then we're seeing some states now moving to decriminalize. And I was reading, I just don't exactly remember which territory it was, but they're now moving, it might be Antigua, to expunge the records of those people who who don't have major marijuana crimes on their record, right? So my question is, what do you guys expect in terms of public education on this? Because you have one section of the St. Kitts society that does not necessarily support it, but then you have some who support it, but not necessarily to abuse. Because if you're saying it's something, it's part of the culture, it's part of for medicinal purposes, but then some people don't respect others and they might just go out and wholeheartedly just smoke amongst people who do not necessarily tolerate it and are also have health issues in terms of smoke.
On the aspect of the relevant statement you asked about, I'd like to touch it from the point of raised in America. And when you're looking at matters to sort problem result, it's not created by what you see, it's how it bring by what they have element to break down people. Now, we say, you're going to say that a herb is a plant, but you still have it in content to be a dangerous, as they call it, supplement. Well, if that is the aspect of a dangerous supplement, why is it that we're still seeing that in this same format that used just outlined by the Abel, that these same people are using the same method to value their economical call? But they are telling you, as a developing country, you gotta be cautious because it's in a targeted treaty. No, this is something that we say no, where we want public education to relate, because in that aspect, we cannot play the tick for tack game. We have to be real with how we live within this world, and much mindset within how our lifestyle go, and guiding the youth them. We cannot be no scaremonger and try to make it look like, as you state, that some of the society will not go for it, and some. Well, look at it. It's a general question. Who create the plant is not a man. It's the nature of the Almighty Divine bring forth the plant to bring value to humanity. So we must bring this here to a public value, not to a personal view. And I will state that on a general tone because it's time now we start playing the tick for tack. Now you ask about people going on areas and smoking. Yes, I agree. It's something that are going out of proportion and need to really be active to how will it state youth when they go to function or places of people both dwelling. So you will be able to know how to relate and correspond within the people, them comments that you don't deal for your own personal, but respect. Because sometimes I got through that. I did smoke some way, but yeah, but still value. I respect something of how people apply the thing. But herb smoke, we never do none to no one. And they be generally flack about that. But it's how people say, is that there are asthma, you have things, but we have to really study our natural ability within how we fight disease and illnesses. And we must be able to understand that this part of the structure of the herb is value. As I talking to you and the general public and the people at large, I don't use toothpaste. I use chew stick from the herb itself to clean my teeth and my tongue because I see certain things that the system are involved with it. And I can study the herb and bring back our own health and structure if we really see how we can be in reasoning and having value for one another. Give thanks.
I see and I understand your statements, but I just want to go back to one little thing that you said, right? And for me, and I've experienced this for some time, I do not have asthma. I just want to make that clear. I do not have asthma or so. But at some point in time, it's not necessarily the herb, but some people just cannot take smoke itself. And and this is the case for both cigarettes as well as cigars, right? And what we have seen time and time again is that one person, the action of one person makes it bad for everyone, right? So someone may have good intentions, and I suspect the Rastafarian community as well. They have good intentions. You guys live peacefully in what you do. You do this, you operate this way, and so forth. But then the concern is that a lot of young people are abusing what we're seeing out here, right? And I think that may be the concern because the and I have great and utmost respect for the Rastafarian community. I have cousins, I have relatives who are Rastafarians, and I really do have a high respect for you and the community itself. But I just think that some of the young people themselves are just making it bad for the broader community itself because they tend to abuse what they use. So that's just how I see it. But
Respect to that.
where do you guys expect to see in term in terms of the proposed legislation, the markets? Where do you guys, the Rastafarian community, expect this to go? And in terms of what has already been put in place, in terms of the limits and the extension, which to an extent has to be commended because steps are being taken to give you guys rights, and with those rights comes some level of responsibility. But I know more you expect more, and the community wants more. But where do you see these steps going? Is it the right direction? Do you want to see more within maybe the next 4 or 5 years? There's the rollout of the industry and so forth.
I would like to say thankful that our elders who have fought the fight in the early 70s, and at this time that I and I as the generation on this time, we'll be thankful that this moment be resolved within a betterment for all, one for all and all for one. And when I say that, because these are the elements that I look at how our elders have faced suffering, and not because of now that we see that our industry as they impactively using to say make some $1 million, but we'll be real frank, Brother Abel. Looking at some of the economical concept behind this industry and looking to how it really diverting, I don't see it really pushing much, and we will be looking at these two major countries in our territory, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Jamaica, and looking at how they have impacted their studies now are the people who are really inside the core of the usage of the herb have able to maintain any value on that product or whatever intake that they are really pursuing on that in the industry. So I would like to really put it on the aspect that be cautious, be vigilant, and be open-minded too, because it's a big market, yes, but we, as a small territory, we must combine our force together. As I say, all for one and one for all.
Well, I want to ask you a question there. Stick a pin there. In terms of, let's say we do launch a marijuana industry, right? What's your expectation for that industry in terms of output? Do you want us to go to end products, meaning finished products, whether it be cakes, whatever it is, or you want us to grow and ship overseas? Because the thing is, as you rightly said, St. Kitts and Nevis is a small state. We will be competing with probably bigger territories like Jamaica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So what do you guys expect to come out of this industry when it does get up and running?
I mean, I can't have no expectation at this moment because, as we say, once the moment look to, as you said, do running. And I will state again, we have to have our people involved more in cooperative to this industry arise for us to captivate good, weighing at the market capital as how we would like it to show. So the only thing I can push Brother Abel, if we want to have exploitation, we have to unite together in these small territories we are. Because if we go individual, we won't have the capacity to carry out what we need. And I'll be straight out. We must able to have, because countries that have vaster land than St. Kitts and Nevis, they can push more things out more than what. But what can we relate within is by doing production within oil and different other methods that can create an economical source within that part. And so in part within, as you said, ship, but not to the international ship with your local areas, them own, and so and regional, and that will be able to help us build a capacity to how the industry can circulate and move within I and I.
Okay, kind of running out of time here, but I want to get from you the how accommodating has society been to the Rastafarian community? And this question comes against the backdrop of children now in society. Because over the years, what I found, and I don't know if this is still happening on the ground, integrating one, students two, and we know kids make fun of kids. And people tend to be offended by that, right? And they have a right to. How is the whole integration in and of society right now?
As you say, we had challenges and we still have challenges. And there's ways and phases how we until to make these challenges be resolved. And the thing we say, we have to thank for a lot of things still within what we are seeing. Because at the only time, there was more than what we know we're relating with. But on the aspect of the society, you still have a lot of stigma within. And I, as Rastafari, have contributed well with him, what the stigma outline. And to show that, we do find that it take a lot in the changes, but the changes ain't have much of the respect that really evolved to make that change be eminent and value. Now, I hope that in the next generation, because I still fighting for these movements to be carrying out positively that it need to be. And we will not give up because we know that the truth is on the grounds of how we're fighting to see a society evolve. And then I know a lot of our generation before us have done this in the Buckley's uprising and even in the, as we call it, the Portuguese uprising, 1896, and others before this year. This is why we could value our call and say we must prevail to change the climax of what we see in this society. It's not an easy fight, but we will continue for the call of our generation so we can have a greater demand of how we relate with one another. And we find, even when we make the value of this response, we'll continue. Right now, we're looking at, as a Rastafari community within the Nyabingi House, looking to make a contribution to the Alzheimer movements too, because we find these are things that His Majesty brought within his value of charity. And we must work within these kind of elements of our people who face it, because these are challenges, things of our human body that we develop within some of these things that our people have faced and they know. So, and I will continue supporting for human rights, value of our people within the human community.
Okay, I just have one more question for you. In terms of the whole community, and you just mentioned it, and you slightly prefaced my question. In terms of some of the remedies that, because I know you guys have been championing a lot of herbal stuff in terms of treatment, and you alluded to it a bit earlier, and then you talked about assisting the Alzheimer's community. Sharing that knowledge, sharing that information, making an industry out of it. Where's the Rastafarian community right now when we talk about herbal substances, maybe treating this, expanding it, and so forth, getting approvals to or certification to get a market to be able to do all of this? Where's the Rastafarian community in that right now in St. Kitts and Nevis?
And the note is not a broad moment within the Rastafari community, but individuals do have this value within the Rastafari faith. So, on the aspect where I asked, these are some of the measures that was come out of the OIU paper delivered to the National Commission. So, still we are seeing these things here have to imply when we have the moment of the board outlined within the licensing authority. So these are some of the things that we are looking to maintain in our strive, as seeing that these things are part of our natural practitioner. As we say, we're not herbalists, we are not natural practitioners. So we are people dealing with alkaline rebuilder, new structure within maintaining, breaking down the disease and building back our elements within the, as they call it, the bloodstream and the vital organ systems within a healthy body.
Okay, so just before I let you go, sum up tomorrow's activities. Just remind us a bit about what you guys are going to be doing tomorrow on Nevis.
Yes, and I would say thankful again, and we just like to say within the moment for the celebration of the 80th anniversary of the speech that was made at the League of Nations in 1936 by His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, in the defense of Ethiopia at the way of the fascist, the Italian regime. We say at our congregation tomorrow, Nevis, in the Westbury area, where we have flag displaying for you to lead to the area of the destination. And we have congregation at that site where we'll have reasoning on the speech, a visual presentation of the speech to the League by His Imperial Majesty, and we'll be able to have bonfire within, and Nyabingi harps we're using to chant Isis of evidence to our ancestors and the love that our people have fought the good fight in 1935 till in 1941 of the return of His Imperial Majesty to Ethiopia. So thankful, Brother Abel, for this time. And we say, Nyabingi Tiakusiada and the collaboration with the Higher Heights movement in Nevis, we are engaging in this celebration to mark, and we are inviting the ones and ones in the Nevis to come and have that nice celebration, because it's a good intake to acknowledge the speech of what we are seeing now taking on the world stage within this Paxmi War. Blessed love and honor to the ancestors and the power of the Almighty. Blessed love, Win FM for having us here in this time. Give thanks, Brother Abel.
Thanks, Ras. That's a little enlightening today for you to share that information. But as we continue with Inside the News, when we come back after the break, we'll continue to look more at the music festival, which is ongoing.
Found the sound 98.9 WINNMedia FM.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
And we are back here on Inside the News. I am Jermaine Abel, sitting in today. Yes, good to be back in your company. So, we heard from Rasdir about their activity tomorrow. Well, it was a busy news week, and one of the big stories coming out of the news is actually from the sporting arena this week, where we heard that our first, the St. Kitts, the first St. Kitts born cricketer, Mikhail Louis, his brother Jeremiah, has actually been selected to the West Indies team. You would have heard a little bit about that as well in the sports news. You've been seeing it in the media as well as on the ball here on Win FM earlier in the week. So we congratulate both brothers for their call-up. We do hope and we do expect that they will play at some point during the upcoming English series. You know, that's always difficult conditions to play. They say once you can play in English conditions, you are actually really good to represent and really good to play at the international level, because the conditions are very swingy. The ball swings a lot and your technique has to be really on point to be able to survive and play in English conditions. Jeremiah is actually going to be replacing the injured Kemar Roach, Barbadian pacer, who was injured in the county championships. He's been representing one of the county clubs over there in the first division, so he has not fully recovered yet to make the trip over to the UK. So Jeremiah will replace him. Jeremiah is actually, which I found as being really contradictory and ironic, that he received praise from lead selector Desmond Haynes, but he was not initially selected in the first squad put forward. You know, I just found that as being really weird, even though he came in for high praise for his performance, not just at the 4-day level, but over the years he's been showing consistency. So that was one of the big stories happening this past week. Another one, actually, and we will have to continue with the discussion more on the other side of the break. And you would have heard this in the news last evening and probably again this morning, is that the Ministry of Tourism will actually be reviewing the St. Kitts Music Festival to do an assessment of it, because they've been spending just about $10 million on the festival. But she also said this week, which is I'm also going to play, and you heard it again this morning in the press conference from the outgoing chief CEO of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, that they've been seeing heads in the bed for the music festival, at least this year. It's 75% capacity in terms of the hotel room stock, and there have been increased airlifts to the Federation for the music festival from Wednesday to tomorrow, Sunday, or until Sunday. So that's the aim of the music festival, to bring more tourists into the Federation during the down period. But equally, even though they are bringing more heads in the beds, is it time for us to decrease the days of the St. Kitts Music Festival? Is it that we have to increase airlift to the Federation? Is it a case that it's time for us to move into more Airbnbs, increase our offerings to get more people to come to the Federation? Take a page from what Nevis is doing for its Culturama, because the big complaint that we always hear, and one of the reasons why St. Kitts and Nevis will not be a home port for many cruise ships, is because we do not have the capacity in terms of room stock to accommodate a large influx of tourists. And all the tourism officials will tell you this, and these questions have been asked time and time again at press conferences of the Ministry of Tourism. So how do we now revamp our product to make it one of those unique products? It's one of the events that is on the calendar of activities across the region, right? It's with the popular festivals, Trinidad and Tobago's Carnival. It is with Barbados Carnival, Crop Over. You have Dominica's World Creole Music Festival, St. Kitts Music Festival. It's been on the table. It's been one of those popular events for 26 years. So now, what more do we do in order to make it sustainable for St. Kitts and Nevis, for the Federation, so that we would be able to another 26 years, another 24 years, we talk about this to say, hey, you remember this was launched way back in the days, and then we actually reached the half century, right? We don't want the product to stop because it's one of the things that leads into the summer of fun, quote unquote, as tourism has been selling for quite some time. I know when we were at the CHTA meeting recently, it's one of the focus activities that the CEO emphasized during that event to regional and international media as well as other key stakeholders, right? You can then sell this product to the airlines, to the cruise ships, So that is what we need, and as I always say, we cannot allow the tourism sector to falter. So that's our discussion for the second half of the program. We will quickly acknowledge our partners one more time, and then when we come back, we'll join the midday news, which was undertaken by Mr. Kevin Brown, who's on the news desk today.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
All fathers are special, and at TDC Home and Building Depot, we know this is a fact. From June 8th through to the 29th, enjoy 20% savings on appliances, electronics, furniture, hand and power tools, housewares, and lawn and gardening supplies, and show him just how much he means to you. Still not sure what to get? Gift him with a TDC gift card and let him choose exactly what he wants. Go to the store where every father shops, the TDC Home and Building Depot. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
You don't know them, daddy, thank God me know mine and him take care of me. Daddy, I'm a general.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Found the sound. 98.9 WIN FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the Win FM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Our top stories.
Movers and Groovers take Music Fest Night 2 by storm.
OECS Pearl meeting concludes with strategic agreements. CARICOM heads of government to meet in Grenada for 47th regular meeting. First batch of Kenyan police officers have arrived in Haiti. U.S. commits to standing with Guyana against tyrants. Bank of St. Lucia employees continue to press for changes with a second day of protests. Internationally, Joe Biden vows to fight on in first speech after Donald Trump debate.
Now the details.
Following an enthralling Night 1 of the St. Kitts Music Festival, Night 2 proved even more entertaining as reggae and dancehall artists left nothing to be desired. From a 50-year history lesson with Third World to Tommy Lee Sparta and Busy Signal charming the crowd from the stage, the music festival continues to deliver high-quality entertainment for all. Both young and old grooved all night despite breezy and at times damp conditions at Warner Park. Third World left no stone unturned, revisiting popular classics including Now That We Found Love and You're Not the Only One. Kabaka Pyramid showcased his versatility, captivating the audience with his popular lyrics and expressing joy at the warm reception, likening it to performing at home.
It's a great experience. I feel like I'm on tour. It's a good vibe. So similar to being in Jamaica. The crowd, the way of the crowd react, and it's just a vibe we're familiar with. And, I could see some real Kabaka fans out there in the audience that sing all the lyrics. So it's great to see that. You don't know what to expect when you're at a new place. But the reception is good. What's so spoke about the people? Musicians have originally live here, and I'm sure we said, a lot of people listen a lot of reggae and things. So I was surprised, but it's always good to see. Because we know it's a dancer dominating era we're in right now. So we represent reggae and we get the reception.
Signal, no stranger to the big stage, expertly mixed reggae and dancehall hits to the delight of thousands at the cricket facility. Patrons swayed to his reggae melodies and danced to his dancehall beats, deeply moved by songs like Missing You and Night Shift. Despite a sprinkle of blessings in the wee hours of Saturday, the party spirit remained undampened, with everyone grooving to powerhouse performances by Capleton and Massacre. The festivities culminate on Saturday night with headline acts Mary J. Blige and Rick Ross. As previously reported, festival organizers faced challenges with smoking outside designated areas. On night 2, a noticeable police presence aimed to curb this practice.
The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, concluded its second biannual progress review meeting for the Program for Educational Advancement and Relevant Learning, PEARL, on Thursday, June 27th in St. Kitts. Over 3 days, government officials, policymakers, and educators from across the region deliberated on critical topics including the Comprehensive Development Program, financial management, and a partnership with Google Education. Rafa Gordon, project manager for OECS PEARL, summarized, quote, "The meeting identified critical gaps and outlined strategies to address them. Notably, there was an agreement to integrate Google Education's resources into regional curricula," end quote. Discussions established enhancing educational frameworks to meet evolving needs, aligned with the OECS strategic plan's educational innovation and inclusivity goals. The meeting's conclusion marks progress towards regional education development. Future efforts will focus on implementing agreed strategies and monitoring progress. For updates on OECS PEARL outcomes, stakeholders and the public are encouraged to follow developments as initiatives unfold across member states. The Caribbean Community CARICOM heads of government will convene in St. George's, Grenada from July 3rd through 5th, 2024 for their 47th regular meeting. The agenda includes key topics crucial for the region's development, such as the Agro-Food Systems Work Program, focusing on food and nutrition security, climate change and sustainable development, foreign policy, the CARICOM Single Market and Economy (CSME), and engagement with social partners. A significant focus will be on the operationalization of the Multilateral Air Services Agreement (MASA), which aims to create a single market for air transport services within the community. The heads of government will review progress towards achieving full free movement of people and goods and reducing food imports by 25% by 2025. Additionally, a strategy for regional digital resilience 2025-2030 will be discussed. The Honorable Dickon Mitchell, incoming chairman and lead head of government for science and technology, including information and communication in the CARICOM Quasi-Cabinet, will chair the meeting. Baroness Patricia Scotland, Secretary General of the Commonwealth, will be a special guest. The opening ceremony will take place on July 3rd at St. George's University. 2 individuals from the region will be honored with the Order of the Caribbean Community: Sir Clive Hubbard Lloyd, a renowned Guyanese cricketer, and Mr. Roderick Rainford, a former Secretary General for CARICOM from Jamaica. Addresses will be delivered by the incoming chairman, the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, the outgoing chairman, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali of Guyana, and CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett. The ceremony will be streamed live on CARICOM's social media platforms starting at 5 p.m. On July 4th, business sessions will be held at the Radisson Beach Resort Grand Anse, a location of historical significance as the birthplace of the Grand Anse Declaration and Work Program. Signed during the 10th meeting of the Conference of CARICOM Heads of Government on July 12, 1989, the declaration emphasized economic and political cooperation among member states and led to the establishment of the CSME. The closing press conference will take place on July 5th at the Radisson Beach Resort Grenada in a hybrid format. The following day, July 6th, the professional and amateur athletes from the Caribbean will compete in the 7th CARICOM Elite 10K, Open 10K, and Youth 1.7K road races starting at Camahonge Park in Grand Anse. Grenada is hosting the conference during its 50th independence anniversary, coinciding with the 50th anniversary of the establishment of CARICOM. These milestones provide an opportunity for leaders to shape the regional integration agenda beyond this significant anniversary. In preparation for the meeting, the CARICOM Secretariat has launched an online knowledge hub to highlight key features and elements of the upcoming conference. This resource caters to a wide range of stakeholders, including international and regional media, policymakers, Caribbean youth leaders, and the general public. The Knowledge Hub offers a media center with summaries of decisions,
communiques, media releases of past press conferences, image galleries, videos, and a news tab updated regularly. It also features a web-based video series, Faces and Voices of the Community, providing insights on the regional integration movement from officials and other stakeholders. The hub includes details about the meeting, including information on speakers, special guest, thematic focus points, order of the Caribbean community recipients, and the program of events. During the meeting, live streams of the opening ceremony, media conferences, and other key events will be available.
In regional news,
Haiti's most visible gang leader, Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, responding to the first cohort of Kenyan police arriving in the country. He's not happy. Hear a Kenyan, shoot them, he's saying to his men. Haiti's been largely lawless for years. Gangs who rape, murder, rob and extort are all powerful. Previously at war, they formed an alliance called Vivre Ensemble, Live Together, aimed against the new force which threatens their control. The Kenyan police will later be joined by more officers and soldiers from other countries to form a 2,500-strong force. It's estimated that the gangs can count on far more fighters, albeit with little training or discipline. Cherizier warns of a bloodbath.
It's a fight for us, a fight for the country, and we'll fight for it. Even if I die, I'm sure that there'll be successors and there'll be other people who will continue this fight.
Haitians that Al Jazeera talked to want a change and safety, but are skeptical the force can provide it.
We have police and military that are specialised to fight the gangs. Why are they not deployed? I give the Kenyan force until August to start solving the problem. Otherwise, they're just here for the money.
But with an estimated 80% of the capital under gang control, they agree something had to be done. So did the international community. The United States pushed for the force. The United Nations backed it. Now Haiti's interim Prime Minister has welcomed it.
The people of Kenya have heard the cries and sufferings of the Haitian people, and they are here in a spirit of solidarity with our police.
He says the force will get to work soon.
The first contingent has been mobilized and is solidly in place to accompany and support Haitian strategies to regain our security, house by house, neighbourhood by neighbourhood, town by town.
Cherizier did talk to Al Jazeera about negotiation, not just battle.
Many people think we're afraid and that we're asking for forgiveness when we're asking for dialogue. So I think today people with military training, even if you are in the middle of fighting, you should have an open door to dialogue.
But in order to lay down their weapons, gang leaders have said they want amnesty and a seat at the table over the country's future. After the crimes they've committed, lives they've ended or damaged, that will be too much for many Haitians to swallow. John Holman, Al Jazeera.
U.S. commits to standing with Guyana against tyrants. Guyana News Source has that story.
The U.S. ambassador to Guyana, Nico Theriot, has made clear the unwavering U.S. support of Guyana in the border controversy with Venezuela. At a reception to observe U.S. Independence Day, Ambassador Theriot said in the face of bullies and tyrants, the U.S. will always stand with Guyana, and the relationship between the two countries will continue to grow.
Our military partnership is the strongest it's ever been. Guyana has hosted trade winds, bringing over 1,000 partner nations personnel for exercises promoting regional stability. We've had countless military-to-military engagements. We've allocated significant foreign military financing to support the Guyana Coast Guard under the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative. And we have worked with the GDF on institutional strengthening, air domain awareness, cyber defense, and in many, many other areas.
Noting the development of the U.S.-Guyana relations over the years, the U.S. envoy said the U.S. government will continue its support of Guyana and the Caribbean, especially in the area of security. Ambassador Theriot noted the strong trade ties between Guyana and the U.S., explaining that the commercial ties between the two countries are deeper than ever.
Just a few years ago, we traded a few $100 million U.S. worth of goods, but last year, we surpassed 4.6 billion US. It's amazing. We now have over 100 US companies in Guyana, and that number is growing every single day. Through our trade missions, conferences, and exchanges between our private sectors, our companies are unleashing economic growth that supports the employment of thousands, providing a better future for Guyana. And it is occurring in many sectors. Energy, of course, is a key economic driver, but we see activity in the areas of healthcare and education, agriculture, and new U.S. technology is being adopted by Guyanese firms and the government to make them more efficient and competitive.
And President Irfan Ali, in his address last night, highlighted the deep relations between Guyana and the U.S. He also praised cooperation between the two countries in a number of areas, especially security.
This has brought tangible results in every aspect of our security architecture, whether it's our fight against illicit drugs, whether it's our fight against money laundering, whether it's the fight against criminal activities, movement of arms. We are seeing tangible results as a result of the work we are doing together.
The president said the U.S. and Guyana's relationship is about building and supporting peace in Guyana and the region, while noting that both countries will continue to strengthen their relations.
We have no apologies for the strong bond and relationship that we have with Southcom, because we believe that we share the common values and we share the same interests in ensuring that this zone remains a zone of peace, and this zone and our sovereign right is protected. And I want to make it very clear, because the propaganda can be different. There is no conversation between the US and Guyana in our security architecture that seek to fuel any act of aggression or anything in this region. Every single conversation in this relationship is about keeping this region safe and peaceful, and keeping the people of this region in an environment in which they enjoy the rule of law.
Both the U.S. ambassador and the president also noted the growth of trade relations between the two countries. The U.S. will be celebrating its 248th independence anniversary on the 4th of July.
Bank of St. Lucia employees continue to press for changes with a second day of protests. DBS St. Lucia reports.
Practice what you preach. I care. You don't care. I care. You don't care. Practice what you preach. Practice what you preach. I care. You don't care. I care. You don't care. Practice what you preach.
With great passion, Bank of St. Lucia employees raised their voices in unison, calling for the dismissal of one of the bank's senior managers. Their loud chants filled the air of the city's commercial center and drew curious onlookers to BOSL's main branch. The employees are dissatisfied with one of the bank's senior managers, with allegations of fraud leveled at the individual. In a petition letter sent to the bank's board of directors on June 20th, the employees detailed several issues with the individual, calling for the senior manager's resignation. Their protest, which began Thursday, is a response to an ultimatum issued to the board if their concerns were not addressed within 2 days of the issuance of the petition. On Friday, employees from all the bank's branches across the island descended on its main branch with a determined mind to get their wishes met. As a result, limited services were available at the Bridge Street branch, BOSL Digital, Grosley and Soufrière branches, while the Waterfront, Choiseul, Vieux-Fort and Massy Mega branches remained closed. With skeletal staff to attend to them, frustrated customers were met with long lines and slow service. The impact of the protests on the bank's business was even greater as it occurred on the last 2 business days of the month. Some of the allegations raised by the employees detailed in the petition against the senior manager include repeated misrepresentation of information, which has led to a complete lack of trust and integrity, flagrant disrespect of employees, and continuous victimization. The disgruntled employee's chants of "I care, you don't care" takes aim at the company's values and code of conduct, which expresses zero tolerance for fraud, dishonesty, manipulation, and deception.
When you have issues with your staff, you need to try and solve it ASAP, because you have to give the public the service, the customers. Your customers must get the service, especially on a month end when people need their money, they need service. You cannot just be living on being done like you don't care and what happened. No, the customers, your priority have to be good service to the customers. And if the Bank of St. Lucia does not do that, I think a lot of customers will pack up and leave and get another bank.
In response to the industrial action, Bank of St. Lucia issued a statement on Thursday acknowledging service disruptions across several branches. The bank assured customers of its commitment to resolving the matter promptly, indicating engagement with the Labour Commissioner for assistance. Efforts to get comment from the bank's management and the employees' representatives, the National Workers' Union, were unsuccessful, with no indication of how long the protest will continue. For the DBS News World, I am Zain Romulus.
We now bring you these international reports.
Hello, I'm Ann-Janet Gadgill. President Biden has given a defiant performance at a rally in North Carolina in his first public appearance since Thursday's difficult televised debate with his Republican opponent Donald Trump. At the rally in Raleigh, Mr. Biden said America itself was at stake in November's election, calling his opponent a genuine threat to democracy. Directly addressing concerns about his age, Mr. Biden told the campaign rally he'd been knocked down but would get back up. But there's still alarm in Democrat circles at his rambling during the debate. Here's our North America correspondent, David Willis.
Fired up by a faithful crowd, Joe Biden took to the stage in the swing state of North Carolina, seemingly unfazed by the torrent of bad headlines his disjointed debate performance had generated.
Folks, I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smooth as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth.
He seemed for all the world like a new man, reading from the teleprompter with a passion that had been all too absent the night before.
I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
It was a far cry from the rasping and rambling performance on the debate stage that was all too often painful to watch.
Everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
It's left his party in a state of crisis, yet despite rumblings about replacing their candidate, publicly at least, Democrats are circling the wagons. Referring to his own lackluster performance in a presidential debate in 2012, Joe Biden's former boss Barack Obama tweeted, "Bad debate nights happen. Trust me, I know. But this election is still a choice between someone who has fought for ordinary folks his entire life and someone who only cares about himself." Despite being just 3 years younger than Joe Biden, Donald Trump has consistently condemned his rival as too old to be re-elected. But addressing supporters in Virginia, he said the question was less one of age and more one of competence.
The question every voter should be asking themselves today is not whether Joe Biden can survive a 90-minute debate performance, but whether America can survive 4 more years of crooked Joe Biden in the White House.
And the calls for Joe Biden to pull out of the presidential race are growing. This, the headline in an editorial in the New York Times, which goes on to declare Mr. Biden is not the man he was 4 years ago.
I don't think so.
The word from the Biden camp is that their candidate has no intention whatsoever of pulling out of the race. But much may depend on how he fares going forward and what the opinion polls make of his debate performance. David Willis, BBC News, Los Angeles.
Well, David told us more about how Mr. Biden has addressed the criticism over his performance during that US presidential debate.
It was like a different Joe Biden that we saw there in that swing state of North Carolina today, speaking from the autocue in front of a group of faithful supporters. He appeared to be relishing the adulation he was getting from the crowd and the reception, and it was nothing like the terrible performance that he exhibited during that presidential debate on Thursday night. Mr. Biden made the point that he may not be, he may be somewhat older than he once was. He may be a little less energetic, but he still knows right from wrong, and he is the man who he believes can defeat Donald Trump in the election in 4 months' time. I have to say, there are those in the Democratic Party who are beginning to wonder if indeed that is going to be the case. They're wondering as well if is really the man to head their ticket going in to the election in November. And privately, those sort of concerns are being kept private for now. Publicly, Democrats are circling the wagons. We heard from the former boss of Joe Biden, Barack Obama, today, basically saying, well, bad debates do happen. I remember one myself. He was referring to his first debate back in 2012 against Mitt Romney, when he put up a somewhat lackluster performance. But there is deep concern amongst members of the party, and Jana, there are calls now from the New York Times editorial board as well for Joe Biden to step down from the race. That's significant because the New York Times, liberal or left-leaning newspaper, supported Joe Biden against Donald Trump 4 years ago. Now it believes that he is really not fit to lead this country for another 4 years. For its part, the Biden campaign is saying that their candidate has no intention whatsoever of leaving the race, but much could depend on what the opinion polls, what the voters make of that dismal performance on the debate stage on Thursday night, Anjana.
Yes, David, regarding the speculation that he could be asked to step aside, how has Joe Biden and his team responded to that?
Well, they've said that that's not going to happen, and we've had senior Democrats rallying round, saying publicly at least, yes, it wasn't the best performance in the world, but he got better, and these things do happen. The point was made that too much attention is focused on style rather than substance, and Democratic leaders have sought to draw attention to the many lies that Donald Trump perpetrated during that debate. Mr. Trump, for his part, has said this only serves to underline his central complaint that Joe Biden, at 81 years of age, is simply too old to lead this country for another 4 years. Somewhat ironically, of course, bearing in mind that Mr. Trump is only 3 years Joe Biden's junior.
In Paducah, Kentucky, the local church-run food bank has become busier than ever these days as high food prices force more and more people to seek help. Stephen Rogers, who lives with his disabled parents, has been coming here for 10 years.
They help us once a month get something to eat when we're starving.
According to census data, in 2022, nearly 38 million people in the U.S. lived below the official poverty level. 11 million of them are children. Tens of millions more are low income and one crisis away from destitution. At a church in Washington, D.C., volunteers are preparing for the annual assembly of the Poor People's Campaign and Call for Moral Revival, a movement rooted in the civil rights era of the 1960s.
I'm here because I believe that we can eradicate poverty. It doesn't have to be this way. And I believe that with my entire heart.
Reverend Liz Theoharis is co-chairperson.
Across the board, people of all ages, all races, all genders, all religions are experiencing poverty in this rich nation. It doesn't have to be this way, that we could actually win this war on poverty. And fight poverty and not the poor, because currently that's what's happening in our society.
But poverty hasn't been a major issue in the U.S. presidential campaign. Both candidates focus more on the pressure inflation puts on middle-class families. The Poor People's Campaign aims to mobilize millions of voters to demand new laws and new spending priorities. Living wages, adequate health care, affordable housing, and high-quality education are all at the center of the campaign's agenda.
I believe that we can only win the world that we want by uniting the poor and dispossessed. I believe that if we all get together, we can make real demands and really change the system.
In Paducah, Stephen Rogers says the free groceries are a godsend.
They're all just blessed. By the grace of God, we have a place to get food.
But the food bank's directors say money needed to feed the poor is running out, leaving people like Rogers and many more to face hunger. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera.
U.S. stocks ended lower on Friday as investors digested the latest inflation data and weighed political uncertainty after the presidential debate. After an early rally fizzled, the Dow closed down about 0.1%, the S&P 500 shed 0.4%, and the Nasdaq lost 0.7%. Friday's personal consumption expenditures price index showed monthly inflation was unchanged in May, with the annual rate ticking down to 2.6%. Traders' bets on a rate cut in September rose to 66% after the report's release, LSEG FedWatch data showed. But Anna Rathbun, chief investment officer at CBIZ, said she wouldn't quite make that same bet.
September rate cut, in my opinion, is still a little too soon. Between now and September, anything can happen, and we really need several months of stable prices, stable inflation numbers, I think, for the Fed to have conviction. So one cut in December, still very likely. Two, maybe. One in September, probably unlikely.
Stocks on the move included Nike, which fell about 20%, its steepest one-day plunge in over 2 decades. The sportswear company forecast a surprise drop in annual sales as it struggles to compete with newer brands On and Hoka. Optical networking gear maker Infinera jumped more than 15% after Nokia said it would acquire the company in a $2.3 billion deal. And after a shaky debate performance by President Joe Biden against Donald Trump, shares of the former president's Trump Media, parent of his Truth Social, spiked before ending the session down more than 10.5%.
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines:
Movers and Groovers take Music Fest Night 2 by storm.
OECS Pearl meeting concludes with strategic agreements. CARICOM heads of government to meet in Grenada for 47th regular meeting. First batch of Kenyan police officers have arrived in Haiti. U.S. commits to standing with Guyana against tyrants. Bank of St. Lucia employees continue to press for changes with a second day of protests. Internationally, Joe Biden vows to fight on in first speech after Donald Trump debate.
Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go
And welcome back to Inside the News here on Win FM. I am German Abel sitting in today, and for the second half of the program we will take a look at Music Festival and its impact on the local economy. You know, it's going to be wrapping up this evening, well, the official festival, but fringe events continue outside of Music Festival. But is it really making a significant impact? We're going to hear a bit from the minister of what she said earlier this week in terms of how it is benefiting and the need for, you know, some level of review and assessment of the music festival here on St. Kitts. But before we do that, we have to acknowledge our partners who make the program possible, TDC and Carib Brewery, and then we'll come right back and continue the discussion here on Inside the News.
Chip, 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 we wanna get chip, chip, chip.
Give your little smartie the perfect smart start for their future with CHIP, the child investment plan from TDC Financial Services. Invest in your child's next step, and we know what's next is always changing.
Chip, 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 we wanna get chip, chip, chip.
CHIP is a long-term plan with no minimum deposit, no monthly commitment, and you're guaranteed a special high interest rate per annum.
I want chip. I want chip too.
Visit TDC Financial Services today and get CHIP, the child investment plan, providing the best head start for every child.
Chip, 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 we wanna get chip, chip, chip.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
We are back here on Inside the News. As I said before we go, I'm Jermaine Abel, sitting in today, and we're taking a look at Music Festival. You heard a little bit from last evening in the headline news there from Miss Weeks. Yes, that last evening was somewhat of the moving and grooving with a lot of the reggae and dance hall artists last evening. You know, as usual, it went sometime last night's events finished sometime this morning. Some of us are getting old. We can't stay until the end of these festivals anymore. So, yes, we cannot stay until the end of these festivals. I'll just give you a little bit of what you heard a little while ago in the news from Miss Weeks in terms of last evening, and then we'll continue with the discussion, because I think the minister made a valid point earlier this week when she spoke about reassessing the St. Kitts Music Festival.
Movers and groovers take Music Fest Night 2 by storm. Following an enthralling Night 1 of the St. Kitts Music Festival, Night 2 proved even more entertaining as reggae and dancehall artists left nothing to be desired. From a 50-year history lesson with Third World to Tommy Lee Sparta and Busy Signal charming the crowd from the stage, the music festival continues to deliver high-quality entertainment for all. Both young and old grooved all night despite breezy and at times damp conditions at Warner Park. Third World left no stone unturned, revisiting popular classics including Now That We Found Love and You're Not the Only One. Kabaka Pyramid showcased his versatility, captivating the audience with his popular lyrics and expressing joy at the warm reception, likening it to performing at home.
It's a great experience. I feel like I'm on tour. It's a good vibe. So similar to being in Jamaica. The crowd, the way of the crowd react, and it's just a vibe we're familiar with. And, I could see some real Kabaka fans out there in the audience and sing all the lyrics. So it's great to see that. You don't know what to expect when you're at a new place, but the reception is good. We spoke to a couple of people, one of the musicians of Brethren who live here, and I'm sure we said, a lot of people listen to a lot of reggae and things, so I wasn't that surprised, but it's always good to see. I would know it's a dancer dominating the era we're in right now, so to represent for reggae and get the reception is a good feeling.
Signal, no stranger to the big stage, expertly mixed the reggae and the dancehall hits to the delight of thousands at the cricket facility. Patrons swayed to his reggae melodies and danced to his dancehall beats, deeply moved by songs like Missing You and Night Shift. Despite a sprinkle of blessings in the wee hours of Saturday, the party spirit remained undampened, with everyone grooving to powerhouse performances by Capleton and Massacre. The festivities culminated on Saturday night with headline acts Mary J. Blige and Rick Ross. As previously reported, festival organizers faced challenges with smoking outside designated areas. On night 2, a noticeable police presence aimed to curb this practice.
People make the world go round.
Yeah, so there you had it. That was night 2 of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Yes, everyone enjoyed themselves, somewhat of the lovers' groove that was happening last evening. We'll sprinkle a little bit of the dance hall rhythm and so forth. nevertheless, everybody seemingly enjoyed themselves, and which was a really, really good thing to see that everybody was able to enjoy despite the little inclement weather that you heard there in that report. But in this one, this is the central focus of our discussion for the second half of the program. This report that was done by Kevin Brown, and within this piece that I'm going to play, we're also going to hear from the minister when she spoke recently on the sidelines of the opening press conference, and she talked a bit about what they've been seeing for this year, including full capacity in terms of the flights entering St. Kitts and Nevis, and the airlines seeing some level of success when it comes to the inflow of tourists for the music festival.
As the 26th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival unfolds, questions about the cost and sustainability of the three-night event are being raised. The festival, a vital component of the island's tourism strategy, is designed to attract visitors, fill hotels and guest houses, and boost the economy during the off-peak season. However, the festival's economic impact has been a topic of ongoing debate.
We have engaged a number of stakeholders, the taxi and tour operators. So it's not just the festival, but persons who are coming on island. So we look at stakeholders in tourism. We look at those in, so that's like taxi, tour operators, hotels. We look at restaurants. We look at even those who do concierge services. So we have those who do makeup, nails, those who sell clothes. It just trickles down into the economy, and there are a number of opportunities. For example, we had to engage a number of, not just for the artists, but we had to engage a number of service providers to help with even flowers, the different requests made by artists. And so we engage a number of persons, and we hope that there is some major stimulation of the economy as a result of the festival. The music festival is a good feature for tourism in terms of its objectives. If the objective was to collect the receipts at the gates, then we might as well pack up shop and go. But if the objective is to increase the visibility of the destination, the objective is to expose our local talents, which has nothing per se to do with tourism, but it has all to do with the creative economy. It's interministerial. But in tourism, clearly, it's to increase visibility of the destination. Those extra flights that we say we bring, we want flights from here, we want flights from here, the flights must come filled. People, when they learn about St. Kitts and Nevis, then they will fill those seats. Those hotels that we have and we're partnering with, we have to get heads in those beds.
In response, the Ministry of Tourism has announced plans for a comprehensive economic impact assessment of the St. Kitts Music Festival. This evaluation will examine the current three-night model and consider potential adjustments to ensure the festival's long-term sustainability. Tourism Minister, the Honorable Marsha Henderson, who oversees the music festival, emphasized the need for this review to keep the festival competitive and appealing amidst other regional events.
The festivals in the region, they have different models, and so for us to be able to compete, we have to look to see whether this model is in fact sustainable, where we have a number of acts every single night. One night alone, if you look at, and I can be transparent, if you look at the amounts we spend on the music festival, it's almost like $10 million. And so we need to see if this is sustainable when we consider, of course, the economic impact assessments and how we can continue to change the model to make sure that the festival is sustainable as well.
Minister Henderson stated during her appearance in the June 26, 2024 edition of the radio and television program In Focus. The assessment is expected to be completed by October 2024, coinciding with the start of the government's annual budgetary process. Minister Henderson mentioned that the review would include observations of other festivals and public feedback to guide potential changes to the festival's model.
The structuring and the model needs revisiting. It may or may not change, and it may have significant changes, but we will know by October. I've said to the team by October we should have an idea, because it affects our budgets going forward. And so the assessment, of course, the economic impact assessment, and all of the other meetings that we're going to do. We intend to do some retreats and some observation of other festivals and see how we can tweak ours to make sure that this festival is sustainable. I mean, it's the 26th edition, but we still have to make sure that, you know, we continue to look at it, go back to the drawing board to see where we can change things, whether we need to carry up ticket costs, as you said, whether we need to be just having one act per night. And of course, we're going to do consultation and get feedback from the members of the public as well, once we decide on a model.
Crest Analytics will lead the assessment, collaborating with relevant stakeholders in St. Kitts and Nevis. Minister Henderson assured that public input would be crucial in the decision-making. Regardless of the assessment's outcome, Minister Henderson reiterated the importance of the St. Kitts Music Festival as an investment for the Federation, highlighting its role in marketing the destination globally.
Last year, for example, we got so much publicity out of the music festival, not just from the artists, but even from the media houses. People knew about St. Kitts. I mean, all the good reviews. And people are saying, like, where was St. Kitts all the time? Because they come for a festival, but they have this cultural experience, you know, a destination, a hidden gem. They come for the festival, but they have the experience of their lifetime.
As the festival draws attention and visitors, the government's assessment will seek to ensure that it remains a sustainable and impactful event for years to come.
People make the world go round.
So that was the minister there explaining the need to review and reassess the St. Kitts Music Festival to see what changes are needed. But I want to get from you, the phone lines are open. In terms of your expectations, has it met your expectations? It's 26 years. Is it time for us to sit down, reassess? Where do we go from here? You know, tourism is our major staple. St. Kitts Music Festival is critical, and it remains one of the pillars of the regional tourism product and tourism offering, and it is being seen as a critical tool for the inflow of tourists into the island. So where do we go from here? How do we balance all of this, still seeking to maintain the status quo, while also we are competing with the likes of all of these festivals, carnivals in the region, and we are competing for our space within the realm of the offerings and the little tourists that comes to the region. So what more do you think we can do to better our product here in St. Kitts and Nevis? We have our first caller for today. Caller, good afternoon.
Product here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Caller, can you turn off your radio, please? Caller? So we miss that caller there. But yes, so we are taking a look at the St. Kitts Music Festival, and we go back to the phone line and hear from this caller. Caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, greetings to you and your listeners once more in Jesus' name. Now, in my opinion, and as a Christian, I'm basing this on the teachings of the Bible, that government entertainment activities should be taken care of by the private sector and not by the government. This is not the God-given duties of government. Music festival, carnival, all of these things should be 100% done by the private sector. Because it is these things that are helping to carry up the cost of living, because all of these things, government had to find money. And ultimately, government have to, sooner or later, even increase the taxes to find the money to finance these things. And it is only keeping the cost and continually keeping the cost of living to be increasing and making life harder.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, caller. Looking at St. Kitts and Nevis's perspective and context, we have a quiet period, a slow period, a snow period, as the Ministry of Tourism refer to it as, during the month of April, May, June, July. Right? There are no cruise ships coming in. It's summer. Most people are either going to the larger destinations or they're staying home and going across the borders, across the state, wherever it is in the United States, in our major source markets. What are we supposed to do as a country to assist the private sector to get more tourists into St. Kitts and Nevis? Because a lot of the quote-unquote private businesses that you're referring to are also dependent on tourists to the island.
Yes. Nothing would bring tourists to the islands more than increasing the spending power of the dollar and continually lowering the cost of living by government. For example, continually lowering at minimum, continually lowering taxes so that businesses' profits can be continually increasing, and not only that, but to be continually heading our market, our economy in a free market capitalist direction, according to the Bible.
So
nothing would.
So just to add to your point, and I just want to ask this question. So you're saying that if the cost of living is such that the spending power is more, but you don't have a tourism product, you don't have anything. We could look at Zimbabwe, for example, use that as a benchmark, but they don't have anything to offer significantly. So how are you going to bring tourists? So you have more money to spend, but there's nothing there for you to spend your money on.
No, what happened is that as the cost of living lowers and the cost of doing business lowers, investors, both local and foreign, would start up businesses and start up activities that would gear to all markets, including the tourist markets, because it will be a lot cheaper to do so.
Yes, and I agree with that.
Not just. Hello?
I said I'm agreeing with that, but my question is, hold on, my question to you is, if you're saying that there's a country in Africa that is at a level where the EC dollar would go a long way and you as a business person can go and invest there because everything is quite fine, how are you going to get there? How are you going to know about this country if you don't visit to see what the country is like?
Well, hold on, give me a second. Excuse me. No, businesses would advertise themselves to attract market, and not only that, but word of mouth as well. Do a lot in spreading how things are with you, that you are one of the best places in the world for to go to visit, to go to live, and so on. The news would spread. Businesses would spread it, and people will come here and go back, and who also communicate with people all over the world, would spread the news. It would spread. I mean, a country that is having it very, very good, that cannot be a secret. It cannot be held as a secret. The news of that country will spread all over the world. You know? But let me also ask a question. Has the government now started to publicize the accounts of the music festival?
The government, I can only speak to what I can remember. I could remember under the past administration, I think once or twice. I know one year at a press conference, they did indicate that I think they turned a profit. That's at one press conference. And I think on another occasion, they tabled the report for that year's music festival. I don't have that information offhand to tell you the specific years.
Okay, but just twice. Well, the first one, you seem to say that they just said he made a profit.
It has always been said time and time again by officials that the main aim for music festival is for them to bring and put heads in the beds and get more tourists to come to the island. Music festival may not necessarily make a profit when you're selling tickets at $50 and somebody costing an arm and a leg to bring. So there's a larger gain to have by having more heads in the bed for economic gains.
Well, yeah, but somebody gonna have to pick up the tab for those losses, and in the end, it would be the people. In the end, it would be the people that would have to pick up that tab.
But I think again, you're missing the picture that they're creating, which is music. You can't, and the minister said this, you can't expect to spend, and this is just me saying this, you can't expect to spend $10 million, right, and expect to get $10 million from sales of tickets at the music festival. Economically, mathematically, that's not going to be possible. Let's be frank, right? But the broader picture to that is, when you look at the economics, the value added, the promotion that you're going to get outside of St. Kitts from the regional and international media that are on the ground, the taxes that you're going to get from the airport, the airlines are coming with the airplanes filled, so you're going to get a passenger fee, the taxes on the environmental taxes and so forth. Then the hotels are going to be fully booked, so then the government will get taxes from them as well. So in all, it's a broader picture of them actually being able to return the monies or get the returns on their investment based on that. And I can tell you this from interviewing officials from the Dominica Creole Festival as well. They spend an arm and a leg to bring artists, but they have seen time and time again that during that specific week when they have their Creole Festival, they have an influx of tourists. About 10% of the tourists that comes to the island of Dominica during the year comes during that specific period when they have their festival. So they're seeing returns on their investment.
Yeah, but I'm not saying, hold on. I'm not saying that during the week you may not see a spike. And obviously during the week you're going to see a spike in tourism and that sort of stuff. That goes without saying. But I'm talking about the long-term impact on the economy. Do you see that increased long-term, long-run impact on the economy from these things? No, you have a spike during the week, yes, and maybe a little after, yes, when a lot of people is in the country. But the long-term impact on the economy.
Let's go to the scenario that you put, right? And I don't mind engaging with you. You said that word-of-mouth marketing and so is critical. That is why the government is seeking to invest. I'm not the government spokesperson here, but we're just rationalizing the situation, right? Let us say we remove and I think this is where the data would be key in terms of us being able to put the numbers out. Let's look at the tourism perspective, for example. And I was harping on this point when I came on earlier. St. Kitts Music Festival has been seen as one of the major events or staple events on the Caribbean calendar of activities. Now, let us take St. Kitts and Nevis's Music Festival off. Let's say we scrap Music Festival for now. What else is there that St. Kitts and Nevis will be promoting? Mango Festival, Restaurant Week. But these are not necessarily events that are going to gravitate to bring tourists. So if we bring a Rihanna or a Beyonce, or let's say the Taylor Swift, for example, the followers that are going to come with a person like Taylor Swift would be significant for St. Kitts and Nevis because she will probably have millions or billions of followers. Then people will know that annually St. Kitts has a music festival during the month of June. So people will now say, okay, I can come during this period. I love St. Kitts. So then you're seeing the broader perspective of what St. Kitts, of the benefits of what the St. Kitts Music Festival has to offer. Whether or not you agree with it or you don't agree with it, there will be some level of benefits to be derived. Whether or not the taxi drivers are going to benefit now or they're going to benefit next year. Whether or not the small businesses will benefit now or the small businesses will benefit next year. Whether or not the promotion will be seen in the UK market, in Ireland, in Germany, countries that the St. Kitts tourism authority will have to spend millions of dollars to advertise, and that is why events like the CPL, the Cricket World Cup, we have the eyes will be seeing these reports. So that for me is where it's critical.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like I said, yes, during the period of the activity, you're going to have a spike, agreed, and maybe a little after and a little before when people coming in and when people leaving. You may have a spike. Nobody's arguing that. But to have your economy on a whole to be increasing and growing, the music festival will not do that, other than the little spike during the time. You need more than that. For example, let me give an example. Jamaica is far more known over the world than St. Kitts and Nevis. Far more known over the world than St. Kitts and Nevis. And Jamaica have a worse economy than ours. People prefer
Why
to
is
come
that?
to Jamaica.
Hold on.
Jamaica.
Why is that? Okay, hold on. You made that assertion
Yes,
there. You have to provide some facts to support that.
Why is that?
Yes.
Because, for example, Jamaica, compared to St. Kitts, have more government regulations and the economy, have higher taxes, they even have personal income tax.
Yeah, but you have to
than St.
contextualize that. That's not fair to say because a country has personal income tax means that the economy
No, they have
is
higher
worse
taxes
off.
on the whole, including personal income tax. They have taxes. The taxes on the whole are more on the economy.
So are you going to say then that the United States' economy is worse off because it has personal income tax?
It is worse off because you have it than if it didn't have it. Because you should know the United States economy right now is suffering, and inflation is going up in the U.S. economy.
Yeah, but you see,
lots of people out of work and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but you see that's simple economics, right? But the
you
point
can't
is,
do that. Businesses are leaving the United States, going to other places like China, Mexico, and so on, because of the taxes and government regulations and the economy.
So you're telling me? So hold on. You're telling me if the Prime Minister is to say tomorrow that I'm going to follow the recommendations of the International Monetary Fund and introduce and return income tax, right, in order for us to gain more revenue, then within 5 years, if we still have that, that means our economy is bad, even though we continue to see economic growth?
It would stunt your economic growth.
Are you saying then that it will, that even if our economy continues to grow, that it will see, that it would mean that our economy isn't significant? Let's take, for example, Guyana, which is one of the fastest growing economies in the region, and we know why. But they also have personal income tax. They also have strict regulations in terms of taxes. So is that a case? Are you saying then that the economy is not good? I'll give you 2 minutes because I have to take a break.
Yes. Over the years, we have seen the Guyanese economy suffering. It's just because they found oil the other day where you have a boom. But when the cost of oil go down, you're going to start to see the Guyanese economy start to suffer as well, like Trinidad. So what I'm saying, if we were to introduce income tax and on a net basis increase the tax on a whole on the economy, you won't be having economic growth. You will be killing out your economy and increasing the cost of living. Now, a country...
No, hold on. But if you're telling me if we remove all the tax regulations and so forth, right, that more monies, that this would not necessarily mean that the cost of living will increase in terms of inflation, because simple economics, again, would tell you more money in the economy means that you have the spending power has gone up, which means that everybody can afford something and money basically will become dead.
But no, money won't become dead. Money would be used more and more for investment and for banking and saving and that sort of stuff.
No, because it simply means that the demand is outweighing the supply.
No, but people would not be bringing in more stuff because it's cheaper to bring in more stuff to meet the demand.
Again,
you see, this is not a zero-sum game. People will be bringing in more stuff to meet the demand, and more and more local businesses and foreign businesses and so would come and the market to meet that demand with supplies.
But then there is where you now add a different perspective to the conversation, because we're talking about having, let's look at the St. Kitts market, for example. If we have more money circulating within the economy, and we're not talking about bringing on more businesses, which is a different conversation, then simple economics would tell you that more money in the economy, which is what is impacting the United States right now because of what they're still coming out of all the investments that were made during the pandemic by all those cash being pumped into its economy.
Well, okay. Let me clarify something. There are two ways you could increase the money in your economy. One is the natural way to lowering taxes, at least lowering taxes, lowering government regulations and your economy. That is one way you increase the money in your economy, which is the natural way, the natural economic way. Another way, which is the bad way to increase the money in your economy, is government handing out and dishing out monies. That kills the economy because that drives up inflation. Because what you now have increased demand because of government handouts, and the supply is not going up.
But then you're coming back to my point, Carla. You're coming back to my point.
But
hold on, Carla.
The economy, the money coming in the economy.
Carla, hold on. I'll give you 30 seconds. I really have to take a break now, but I'll give you 30 seconds to make your point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if the money is increasing in your economy because of government handouts, subsidies, that sort of stuff, then that is a bad way, and it will increase the inflation and the cost of living in a very bad way in your economy. But if the money is increasing in your economy, the natural economic way, which is through at least the lowering of taxation, the lowering of government regulations and the economy, so businesses would spring up and people will be coming more in your country and businesses will be coming more in your country. That natural way of bringing in more money in your economy will decrease the cost of living, increase the standard of living, increase businesses, competition, and say in your economy, and that way of increasing the money in your economy would work out only for the better and better and better of your economy.
Just
so
quickly,
it all depends on how the money is increased, whether by government or naturally.
Just quickly to respond, how do we then get the money out of the economy if we do it the natural way?
How you get the money out of the economy?
Yes.
So money would be coming into your economy as well as people would be coming into your economy, and markets in your economy would be growing.
Hold on, Carla, that's not the question. Is now that, let's say we utilize your policy and strategy in order to get more money into the economy, how do we then get all the monies that are in the economy out to not burden the economy?
No. The more money coming into the economy will be helping your economy, not burdening your economy. Once it comes in the natural way, it will not be a burden. It will be a great help to the economy. Once it is done the natural way, but your country will be in a better position now to invest in other countries and to help other countries. You'll be in a better position to do that now.
All right.
But money coming into the economy through the natural way, through government lowering taxes and lowering government regulations and so money coming into the economy via that way, through that way.
All right, so Carla, we have to leave it there
always
now.
be a help to the economy.
All right. Thanks, Carla, but we have to really take a break now. All right, so it was really good engaging that call, but I have to take a break to acknowledge our partners, and then we'll come right back and continue with more discussion on Inside the News here on WIN FM.
Found the sound 98.9 WIN FM.
If you think the TDC 10 sale at Home and Building was massive, then we have another one for you. TDC Automotive Division in St. Kitts is having a massive spare parts sale. This and every Friday until June 28th, 2024. Not 50 or 60 or 70, but up to 85% off genuine spare parts. You heard me right. We got shocks, bearings, brakes, pads, belts, spark plugs, hoses, rods, horns, headlamps, mirrors, bulbs, and much more. Everything must go. Sorry, I'm so tired. This and every Friday until June 28, 2024. Go to TDC Automotive Division at the C.A. Paul Southwood Industrial Site in St. Kitts for this massive spare parts sale. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. Remember, at TDC, together we succeed.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
And we are back here on Inside the News, and we go straight to the phone line. Caller, good afternoon. Caller, good afternoon. So yes, we are taking a look today at the St. Kitts Music Festival and the discussion surrounding revamping and how can we make the product a better product. 26 years on from the initial inception of Music Festival, it has grown leaps and bounds to become one of the most popular events on the calendar of activities across the Caribbean region. But, you know, as time goes by, you have to assess, reassess, and assess again to see where changes are needed, and that's where the discussion is at currently. We go to the phone lines and hear from this caller. Caller, good afternoon. Caller, good afternoon. Caller?
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon.
How are you today?
Could be much better, but I'm good. A bit tired.
As old people say, give God thanks for life.
Indeed.
At least you're alive. I got some healthy one who pass, you know.
Indeed.
You see them today. You know who dead so and so. He wasn't sick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you give God thanks every day, every day.
Indeed.
Good afternoon, Greg. You know, I give Greg some credit, you know. I think he should continue. He should pursue further studies in economics because he oversimplified a lot of the concepts. You know?
Yeah.
He oversimplified them because we had what happened up on the industrial side. They weren't paying no kind of tax, you know. They're gone. The wages were so low. When they're paying $15 and $10 an hour up in the States, they're paying hours 2 and 3 if they get so much an hour. When you cut tax, you actually subsidizing the companies because they already have all kind of ways and means of demanding goods from the government. All of the public goods that we talk about, they demand them. They want better roads. They want better. You understand what I'm saying? So when you go cutting all these taxes, where is the government to get the tax from? To do what he said he could do. And he oversimplified.
But hold on, Ms. Henry. I on that point, right? And this is the question I want to ask. So, and it goes back to the point I was making with the caller before. So let's say the government do decide to provide these concessions. Let's say Mr. Abel has a business and, you know, he's getting these concessions. But in order to get some level of revenue back from those concessions, at some point in time, taxes must be increased. Am I wrong?
Well, if you don't want to call it tax, call it fees.
You're just being diplomatic.
No. That's what governments do, you know.
But
isn't that what I'm saying?
But isn't that one of the ways that the government will literally begin to take revenue or take the excess liquidity or money out of the economy? The government has to get revenue.
And even when they dump these monies, even in COVID, to hire people, and when they had to rescue from the recession, and they gave them money, instead of investing and hiring people, they went and bought back their shares in the company. You know about that?
What are you talking about from St. Kitts' perspective?
No, St. Kitts ain't got nothing.
Are you talking about in the United States?
The same one that he's looking at, the model.
Oh, yes.
They went and bought back their shares, buy back.
But that also happened when the tax cuts were passed under Trump.
Under his lovely future president. The money did not reach where the service is supposed to go. I think he's promoting, I won't say discrimination. Where you are in the poor and the worker. Because his conversation does not include the worker, the capital. And he said the Bible. The truth is he can't find one verse in the Bible that says so, Not one chapter.
But Miss Henry, I want to get from you, right? I know we slightly deviated, and all these are part of the discussions in terms of us being able to benefit St. Kitts and Nevis from activities that we were had. But I want to shift back to the actual topic at hand, which is the music festival, right?
Yeah.
And the economic pillar and the discussion that we were having in terms of the whole economy and so forth. What more do you think we should be doing to revitalize music festival after 26 years? It's still successful. We're still seeing a large influx of tourists. But what more do you believe when you look at the numbers, when you look at the data, when you look at from then to now that you believe we should be doing to
All right,
get
now
music
let
festival?
us start with the government revenue, right? I think you're familiar. There are, MOF.KN,
Yes.
the estimates. If you look at the amount that the government for hotel tax and entertainment tax, maybe it's bringing more, If the hotels in St. Kitts who want heads in beds would do some of their own marketing, 'cause I'm talking about what I know. A lot of them depend on the government to market their establishment.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I just want to chime in there to say that based on what I saw when they were on the road, St. Kitts and Nevis attended the CHTA meeting, the hotels were out there marketing
Who paid for
themselves,
them?
making connections.
Who paid for them to go?
That's a different discussion, Ms. Henry.
No.
I did not go into details in
that
terms
didn't
of who
cross your
paid for them
mind?
to go where. But what I'm saying is they were out there selling and making the connections with the regional international markets. But
I
continue.
understand what you say, I am saying they are not investing up, financing up of their own marketing. This has been a tradition. Number two, a lot of them who make all these heads in beds are not paying the room tax and the food and so tax. Again, anywhere you turn, and as soon as a little downturn, they lay off some of the workers, or the government has to help pay. This is it. If the government would say, look, we're spending 10, well, we want you all to spend 2 out of the 10. They benefit more than the government. And as soon as music festival finish, they lay off some staff. Well, you got to wait until next year.
So
where do we?
So let me interject,
Another
right,
thing.
Ms. Henry? You mentioned something there. And how do we better what is happening now? Because you're claiming that, a lot of them not paying the taxes, right?
Yeah,
because
so the
I could
government
remember when I
must
was in
begin to-
Barbados recently.
The government must begin to implement.
Okay, hold on. What I was saying is, when I was in Barbados recently, I had to pay a 2% tax upon checking out at the establishment that I stayed at. Right. That was separate and apart from
the government tax.
No, this 2% tax was actually the government tax. But this was separate and apart from the actual tax that was included in the fees to book the accommodation. Right. So how do we now, as a country, as a government, make or ensure that we collect the service tax or whatever tax?
But that's
is
what I'm
included?
telling you. This thing has been going on. In fact, if you were to read some of the contracts that they signed for them to come. Clearly state they don't pay this, they don't pay that.
Yeah, but how do we collect the monies? How do we ensure that the government gets the monies?
Put it in the law. These contracts that they sign. You understand? Another thing again. Don't bring so many artists from overseas. Some of the concerts overseas bring in 2 and 3, you know. And they charge more than us. You know that, right? Huh?
That is true, right, Miss Henry?
Yeah, they're bringing. Look, I mean, they're bringing in good ones. So, I mean, I'm saying they're scraping the
But
bottom.
the problem with that is, any talk about an increase of the ticket price, you know we're going to get pushback on that.
So bring less stars. You can't be paying 50 US. I mean, even in the US, 50 US to see one person. I mean, our people got to be made responsible. You want to have this, you want to have that. Therefore, if you got to pay, as Calvin said, charge 250, double it. You got enough. You know it's going to happen in June. Therefore, you save your money. No. You see, we don't make our people responsible, you know. And then again, they turn around and want all of these free tickets that the politicians giving away. They're undermining the system. What about that? Stop giving these lots of tickets. How much you think they give away?
That's a good question.
No, but I mean, serious. If we look at, they spend nearly 10 million and then they ball to give other people something. And some of these artists, the overprice, when you're going to give one man and he go up and sing 2 songs, 3 songs, 15 minutes. Not even in their own country they could get what they ask for. Because we can't negotiate. I heard this man, John Francis, I think his name is. You know the gentleman, I think it's the years back over in the strip. He came here promoting films and different things. He was saying the way that they hire people, how we recruit, is bad. Rather than them individually, you go to the manager or whatever.
Yeah, but that's how it goes. Henry, I can't go and talk to Taylor
But
Swift
this is what he was saying.
like that.
He's in the business, right, sir? He was saying it on your show, talking about it. He said, you know, they're going to be touring the Caribbean at a certain time. We booked 2 and 3 from the same person. When you got individual, just...
But Miss Henry, sorry I have to cut you, right? But I'll give you 30 seconds to respond when I finish making the statement, right? Because we're literally out of time and my producer's running me down. But
let me summarize what I said.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, because I had a discussion recently with someone who's in the business, right? And the key takeaway that the individual explained to me is the demand of the person at the time. Is the person popular? So, for example, Taylor Swift is on her tour, and I don't know why she's in my head, but Taylor Swift is on her tour right now. She's very successful. She's the go-to person. She's in demand. So because she's in demand, she will call her shots. No matter how you try to negotiate, people want to see her. So they're going to pay, as you know in economics. Wherever the demand is, that's it. So that's what happens. So it's oftentimes difficult to, beat the manager down and the discussions around the business aspect of it.
Where there's no money, there's no demand. You know that?
It's either don't bring
demand
them then.
Is want backed by money. For all of you who did not know.
But
where there's no money, there's no demand. If the clients who want it.
So are you saying then, Ms. Henry, that if the person is quote unquote at a high price, then we should not bring them then?
No, we're going to bring them for. They're seeing them on TV, they're seeing them on YouTube, they're seeing them on the phone. If we can't, so what we actually do, taking money from urgent needs we have to entertain our people for 15, 20 minutes. We got to be sensible. Or let them go where she is then. Since that's a want to see the person. We got to make our people responsible, you know. How many people who are going to the park tonight but actually paid for the ticket? Because you're talking about the gate receipt. If you know so many persons came to the gate, I'm not talking about the sponsors, and even some of the sponsors, they're actually getting back their full thing in tickets. You give this and then they give 10 and 12 and a dozen tickets. I mean, we got to be responsible. We are the ones creating the trouble. Who we can't afford can't come. If you know they're going to be in, you see Antigua close years. When are we going to learn?
Okay.
I mean, I must give Marsha some credit. Honorable Marsha. It's time enough we face the facts. Who we can't afford cannot come. If you want to hear them, go say Martin where them go where they are. And the hotels who want all the heads in the bed, they must be seen, or the government should be able to calculate what they contribute. Because people go to the hotels all year round. When you empty, they put them on the government list for PAP. You're not helping the government, you're not helping the country. And Greg is promoting the exploitation of the poor. That's what it is.
Okay.
When they take up the money and they go.
Yeah.
You build them up, they go another country.
Okay.
Where they get labor cheaper.
All right, Miss Henry.
It increases their profit.
Miss Henry.
But the countries that really don't benefit. Exploitation.
Okay,
He's
so
promoting exploitation of the poor.
all right, Miss Henry, thanks for calling in.
Yes,
It's good hearing you,
good
engaging
afternoon,
you.
Greg, man, nothing against you, eh?
All right.
But I think he should go and study things, you know, he's good, he does his research, give him credit.
No, I give him credit, but I really have to go, Miss Henry.
Other people don't do, even though he only examine what support his ideas.
Okay, that's for another discussion. But I really have to go, Miss Henry. Thanks for joining us today. We're really out of time, right? It's really good being in your company today. Yes, it's really good being in your company. We were taking a look at Music Festival based on that's a big discussion right now. 26 years on from the St. Kitts Music Festival, and we are going to be reviewing and assessing and see where it's to review its sustainability. Sorry, biting my tongue there. To review its sustainability and what changes need to be made to upgrade the product here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, the Music Festival is one of the critical pillars of bringing heads in the beds, according to the Ministry of Tourism, during the off period. What they've been seeking to do, and all administration have been seeking to do this, is promote a summer of activities because the summer is really the quiet period. Not that many cruise ships come to St. Kitts, and most people are on vacation, and oftentimes they tend to stay and visit close to home. For example, those in the United States, they may attend some sporting event, or they might drive out of state for someone to engage with family members. So there is the efforts to promote activities to drive more traffic to St. Kitts and Nevis during the slow period, or what was described by the minister as the quote-unquote snow period. So because of that, we have the St. Kitts Music Festival, which continues to be one of the major activities across the Caribbean region, even though it is competing with some other major festivals across the region. We are out of time. See, calls are still coming in. So with that, I bring the program to an end. It was really good being in your company. Do enjoy the rest of the weekend. Do go out and support the activities for Music Fest that I left because today is Saturday. It is actually closing, final night, and then Sunday you have the usual white sand, which formally, or as I put it, formally brings an end to the music festival activities. Nevertheless, I was German Abel sitting in. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. news and sports later. You can stay tuned to all the media platforms across the Federation for the latest in news, both local, regional, and international. And just one thing to update, we have the first major storm out in the Atlantic. It's not necessarily going to be impacting us here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but it's going to be impacting some aspects of the Windward Islands. A couple of the territories are under hurricane watches and warnings as we speak. So let's pray for our brothers and sisters down south. But in the meantime, do enjoy the entertainment here on Win FM.